Alright, this is my updated version for Thunder Dragons for the upcoming season. I sort of want to take this occasion to show you what I have changed about the Thunder Dragon since the last video we did a couple of weeks back. What have we changed and why did we make those changes? Let's talk about it. If you watched my pure Thunder Dragon deck for Master Duel a couple of weeks back and you look at this deck list, this looks quite a lot different. I want to talk about why we have changed all of those things in the deck and why we went back to Aloof, for example, when we played Solar before, why certain cards are not in here like Chaos Space, Wyver Burster and so on, and what we filled in for those spots and why we need it. First of all, let me talk about the game plan. Once again, it is the same. We want to get out Colossus, Titan, but in this version, even more than in the last version I showed off, it is so much more about controlling the game with Colossus and Titan and doing very little else. You don't go for any crazy link plays. You don't even play the little baby dragons, right? You don't play Wyver Burster or Collapse Serpent to potentially get more link material to do crazy stuff. We don't play Solar to get additional tokens to be able to link summon stuff. We just want to get Colossus and Titan on the field and sort of poke the opponent, but our hand traps will stop them from playing, our non-engine cards will help us. And since everything we want to do is get Colossus or Titan, we play a more consistent and safe variant of the deck. We could say that the general thing that we've changed about the deck is that we've put out more, you could say, power cards, and we put in more hand traps. So as of this moment, we play 13 hand traps. We play 3 DD Crow, 3 Maxi, 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Impermanence, and 1 Nibiru, as well as 2 Called by the Grave, which I also sort of put with the hand traps into one category, even though obviously they don't stop your opponent on their turn. They are non-engine cards that help you play getting your plays through, and sometimes it's also a very good going second card because your opponent will open hand traps even when they go first. We put out a lot of our power cards and put in more hand traps. So why did we do this? I feel like I didn't see the success with the pure Thunder Dragon deck I showed off back then that I really wanted to see anymore. It was very good in the beginning, but I feel like the mindset of players in Master Duel has changed a bit. We see all the memes about Eldritch, no one likes Eldritch. It is sort of the, yeah, you could say the meme deck, right, in Master Duel. No one really wants to play this deck anymore, and I feel like a lot of people that initially built the deck are now, you know, they're sort of going into a different, how you could say, territory. They've tried to find new decks that they want to play. And I'm just not playing against Eldritch anymore. So what does that mean? We play more against combo decks. I play a lot against Tri Brigade, a lot against Drytron, Emancipator. Those decks that really can play a lot of non-engine themselves, but also can play incredibly crazy combos. So in order to win against these decks, you have to play at least 12 hand traps in my opinion. Optimally, you would want to go for 15. We managed to put 13 in here, which is for Thunder Dragon already a very high count. I remember those type of Thunder Dragon versions only being played in the TCG at the Worlds format, World Championships, where you also had merging ban lists from the TCG and OCG, because obviously players from both the OCG and TCG play in the World Championship, so they're sort of an imaginary format, you could say. And in those type of formats, I have seen a build like this similar, so that was sort of the inspiration we took for this version. We obviously don't cut our win condition, the Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. I feel like this is still way too easy to get out, and something like Lupin plus basically any Thunder Dragon monster equals Union Carrier with Colossus. So we still want to keep that win condition live in the deck. Let's go back to the hand traps for a moment again, because why are we even playing DD Crow? Why are we not playing something like Ghost Bell or Triple Nibiru or even Droplet or something like that instead of the Called by the Grave, for example? Well, I don't have them. You can see I have 80 crafting points left. I didn't want to use them for the droplets. I felt like I could pull them as well. And with the new Synchro events and everything coming up, you will probably get a lot of gems so that you can afford these packs and potentially pull a droplet. I have to say that Valor I am not a huge fan of. I feel like DD Crow hits Drytron a lot harder. Let's talk about our normal summon of the deck. We play Aloof Lupine. What is the reason behind this? Well, if we take a look at the other card that we could play, which is Batteryman Solar, which we used to play in the other version as mentioned, this is a card that is very combo heavy. In order to make Solar a good card in your deck, you want to play other cards that synergize with it, because on its own, Solar is not a very good card. Ideally, you want to open your Solar with Chaos Space, the Wyver Burster, the Dragon Hawk, cards like this, but this will not consistently be the case in a build where you play a lot of different hand traps because you have to stop your opponent, otherwise you cannot play yourself. That is why we had to cut the Solar again, because I felt like, well, if you want to compete with the combo decks, you cannot break their boards going second, even though Solar has a lot of power. So, it's just a matter of which card you personally prefer in the current moment, because it could be that if we get a ban list, Solar becomes better again, and so on and so forth. Right now, I feel like Lupin is very good. Ideally, a starting hand would look something like 3 hand traps, Lupine with any Thunder Dragon card. That would be the dream, more or less. Then we're still on the usual Thunder Dragon count: 3 OG, 3 Dark, 1 Hawk, 2 Roar, 1 Duo, no Chaos Creator. I want to be able to search this with the Thunder Dragon Dark if possible. We also play triple Thunder Dragon Fusion, just because we want to get our fusion monsters as much as possible, and I have no problem with seeing this card. Honestly, I've been liking this ratio quite a lot. A card that I also added for this version is Instant Fusion, because this means you get your plays going very easily. Also means that you have 2-card combos once again with Instant Fusion and Roar, Instant Fusion Dark. Triple Allure is mandatory, and then everything else we have more or less talked about. The extra deck stays the same almost, right? All the link monsters, they sort of take a step back. They're not as important anymore in this version of the deck. Union Carrier being probably the most important, as well as maybe something like Access Code, Unicorn, you know, your usual utility link monsters that will be able to remove cards from your opponent, sometimes maybe a Verta and Anaconda to get that additional fusion monster on the field to push for more damage. We want to put up Colossus going first, and then on our turn 3 we OTK them. As always, if we go second, we want to open hand traps, put up our Colossus, lock them out of the game, and win that way. Alright, we were able to go through the deck fairly quickly. If there are any suggestions or questions you have, leave them down in the comments. Otherwise, let's go into some replays, see how this new version of Thunder Dragons perform. Alright, this is DD Crow, Matrix, Ash, Aloof, Hawk. So, you know, this is more or less the scenario we wanted to achieve. Crow is also very good versus Eldritch, so we play against Eldritch, reasonably fine versus that, and Ash is always good against Eldritch. We're able to negate the Sanguine if they have it, and sort of be able to prevent them from getting the Golden Lord on the field, of course. They're gonna add the Golden Lord to the hand, which makes me think they want to discard it with a trap and send their Eldland to the grave. It's a common play, but okay, they just go to the end phase. They set a card, interesting. So, I don't know, right now this is, I mean, looking pretty good, right? If Eldritch sets one card, it's pretty weird. So, we could think about what they could have in their hand. It's either that they don't play a trap-heavy Eldritch version. Maybe they play something like Invoked Eldritch, where they drew Invocation, or something else like a brick. Or they just drew triple Golden Lord or something like this. Or double Golden Lord, and they only play 2, but probably then they wouldn't have searched the other Golden Lord from the deck. So I'm not really too sure what this could be, but what is for sure is that we're going to normal Aloof Lupine and banish the Dragon Matrix. That is more or less the ideal opener we want to go for always. I did a Thunder Dragon guide on this as well, so it's on the channel if you want to check it out, where we talk about, especially with Aloof Lupine, what are the standard lines you want to go for. They're not very complicated, but I think you have to see them once in order to know what you want to do with this card and how it works. Great thing against Eldritch is also that Aloof Lupine has a second effect if it's destroyed by battle, or if it's destroyed in any other way by your opponent and it's in your possession. You can target a banished monster you have and add it back to your hand, so obviously that works in tandem with all the Thunder Dragon monsters. I believe that... what do we... Oh yeah, of course, yeah. This is about special summoning. Not the dark effect quite yet. So we go for Dragon Dark. We could think about going for Nightmare Phoenix here, potentially destroying their back row. The Union Carrier lock is not going to be very relevant here, of course. And I think that's actually what we're going to do, because the thing is, we can even add the Fusion and start destroying their cards with Titan. And they even have less life points, so potentially we can go for an OTK. I'm not entirely sure right now. We want to have Dragon Dark as Chainlink 1, so they cannot interrupt it. We use the Nightmare Phoenix, discarding a Matrix that we don't need. We want to keep our hand traps, especially because those two are very good against Eldritch, as mentioned. We resolve the Phoenix, hopefully. Let's see if they respond in any way. Right, they don't. So probably it's just a Conquistador. Oh, it's a heavy Storm Duster. Well, that's a weird version they're playing. That is definitely a weird version. So if they don't have any hand traps, maybe Nibiru is the only thing, but Nibiru and Eldritch is kind of sus, so I guess we can just go for this. Special Summon Titan. Nope, not this one. Not this one, yes, because we want to summon out Roar, because it's the best, one of the best ones to have in the grave. Maybe Dragon Dark as well. It's not really the most important thing. You always want to see that you either keep Dragon Roar or Dragon Dark in the graveyard, of course, so you can get their effects later on. So this is 3-2, this is 1-9, makes it so 4-9, 5-1, 7-1. Yeah, this is game. Alright. We are... yeah, we can use the Titan, I suppose. It doesn't really matter too much, because it's OTK anyway, but just in case they have a Nibiru or something like that, we rather want to get rid of their advantage generating engine. So we summon our Roar back to the field. We're gonna go for Colossus. But now we also have the Thunder Dragon Fusion in the grave, so even if they should have something like Nibiru, we are in a very good spot. We have Crow, we have Ash, and we also have Matrix in the hand. Yeah, they get anything in the grave. They get the, what's called, Hyokero. And now we just summon Colossus, which we wouldn't even have to do. And there is an argument to be made, not even summoning Colossus, being just playing it out safe here, not even running into Nibiru in the first place. And so we have the Colossus still in the extra deck for the next turn if we need it. But since we have Fusion in the grave, there is a high chance that we could just shuffle it back. So this is... Oh, they play the Fräulein, of course. Of course, they play Zombie Eldritch. That makes sense. Something I kind of ignored here almost. But yes, that makes sense. So once per battle, if your zombie monster battles an opponent's monster... Yeah, so basically you cannot attack over this card, right? But is it clever to attack over it? I have to read it. Once per battle, if your zombie monster battles an opponent's monster, during the damage clock, you can pay life points in multiples. Your battling monster gains damage attack or defense during the damage calculation only. Okay, so you can special summon. Alright, so that means that we both basically take the damage, right? If I didn't misunderstand that. Interesting. So... But since they're playing a zombie version... Maybe we should even go for the Buster Log. But we would have to give up either Titan or... Oh no, we can't, because the Phoenix is neither dark, nor light, nor thunder. So I guess we go into main phase 2. The question now is... Do we want to DD Crow the Huacuero out of the grave? But I have to say I don't think so. I would rather want to keep it. The reason is that they already have access to Golden Lord. The problem for them, or the issue that they have, is not getting access to their Golden Lord. It is more so probably to get something like a Uni-Zombie, get a Mizuki or something, if they play the zombie version of the deck, which I assume. Because the Fräulein is not a card you play in a regular Eldritch version where you play a lot of traps and just strike, Ice Dragons, Prison, Torrential Tribute, all of those cards. And DD Crow will be very good if they top deck into one of those cards. So if they top deck into Uni-Zombie, Mizuki, or something of that nature, the DD Crow becomes a lot better. So that's why I want to use the DD Crow only then. Also on the Golden Lord in the grave, it could be pretty good. They main deck Twin Twister and Heavy Storm Duster. Damn. They really... Oh my... we put... it's always the same. I forgot to put this on as again. Alright, what is this? If a level 5 or higher monster is on the field, zombie monster, target one monster your opponent controls, take control of it until the end of phase. Okay, that's pretty good. During a main phase, if it's cut in your grave, you can shuffle one of your banished zombie monsters into the deck. And if you do, set this card. Wow, this is a good card. What do we want to do? It's so unfortunate because we would have chained the Matrix to the Golden Lord and destroyed the Fräulein, so they could not even activate this because we would have crowed the... it's just so unfortunate. We would have instantly won, yeah. Alright, but we have to deal with this now. I feel like we're just gonna let this go through. They're gonna take the control of Colossus, of course. Which, this is fine. I don't know if Vampire Sucker, which is the main zombie link monster, needs 2 zombies or 1 zombie monster and any other monster. They're gonna activate Golden Lord. What did they put to the grave? Mayakashi wins. So they really just play a zombie deck. I mean, that's pretty cool, honestly. I've always been a fan of zombies in general, but they've never really been the most viable. I think they do some cool, neat stuff here and there, but overall they lack power. What is this? Send this card and 1. They don't have any Mayakashi cards, so right now this is pretty useless, it seems. I want to DD Crow this, I think. Because if we DD Crow the Lord and Ash the Sanguine, they're gonna get... They're out of engine very, very quickly. And we have Fusion in the grave, so that's our follow-up. Alright, they go to the battle phase. They probably... Oh, they attack with Fräulein because it can alter its attack and defense value. So they take a lot of damage, and then they run over that. They attack directly, and probably in main phase 2, they are... Oh, they can summon this back if it's destroyed by battle with it. Oh. That's pretty good. Right, what are they gonna go for? IP? That's fair enough. Not the worst for us, I feel like. That's still okay. This is a pretty unfair draw. I'll say that much. This is a very unfair draw. This is so good. Alright, we use Fusion in the grave first of all. Now, what do we want to get here? I feel like we want to get Roar. Just because... Yeah, we definitely want to get Roar. Because Roar... Or do we want to get Duel, maybe? No, we don't have Dark in the grave. So we need to get... Because if we would have gotten Duo and we had Dark in the grave, we could add the Roar with Dark. So that would have been pretty good. But since we don't have Dark in the grave, we... Yeah, Duo was not a good option at all. So we go for Thunder Dragon Fusion. They will... I mean, I guess they can still counter... Alright, they scoop. Oh man, they still had counterplays. I don't know why they scooped. So if we go Titan here, and then we activate a Thunder effect in the hand, they chain Sanguine, we chain Ash, they chain IP, we chain... Oh no, I guess they... Yeah, probably was fair of them to scuba. Because then we could have chained Matrix to the IP to destroy the IP, and because IP has to link with itself, and they didn't have any other monsters regardless, they would have just had nothing on the field anymore, and we would have just gone off. So yeah, I feel like the hand traps already put in a lot of work. I mean, I think we drew the right hand traps for this matchup as well. As something we have to acknowledge, but that doesn't matter, right? It still shows that playing these hand traps really works out fine. We open Ash, Dragon Dark, Duo, Fusion, Imperm. So this is a brick, and this will happen. And this is an issue about the Thunder Dragon deck in general, right? It's the biggest issue about the Thunder Dragon deck. If you... Like, we would need either OG Thunder Dragon, Matrix, Aloof Lupine, or Dragon Hawk in the hand to make this work. But right now, this is nothing. The only thing we can hope for is we set the Fusion. This is what I've always done with this deck if I bricked, and I managed to win a lot of times then regardless. You set Thunder Dragon Fusion, you hope they destroy it, and then on the following turn you have a lot of follow-up. You don't show them Dragon Dark now, you don't activate the effect to get one to your hand. Even though, in theory, it would probably be better to activate it in our turn if we didn't have the Fusion, just so it can't be disrupted by our opponent and we don't run into Triple Tactics Talent or any of those cards. But like this, we just pass. And we still have Imperm Ash, so... The way I'm thinking about this, if they play a combo deck, and the only difference between them going first is that they now have 6 cards to play with, and we still have Imperm Ash, and Imperm Ash is always fine. It usually doesn't stop them from doing anything at all, but it usually stops them from at least OTKing you. We're playing against, is this the Utopia deck? This is nice, because probably we're gonna get clapped by it, and this is a nice moment for everyone that commented under my tier list video that Utopia is actually much better than I think. Probably I'll get clapped and you guys show me that I was totally wrong. which I have to admit the Utopia deck is something I don't really know too much of. All I know that in the TCG it never did anything at all. So it's going to be interesting to see, but maybe I should focus a bit on the gameplay and read those cards. This card is used. You can add 1 rank up magic normal spell from your deck to your hand. Alright, you know what? I think we will just Ash this. Because I don't know what this deck does. And usually, if you stop a rogue deck or a fun deck, maybe it's not a fun deck, maybe it's a rogue deck or T2 deck. If you stop those decks early on in their combo, oftentimes they will not be able to play. Probably I'll get my thesis backfired on me right now and they will be able to OTK me anyway. But in general, I feel like if you play versus a rogue deck, a not so popular strategy, there's a good reason for it. Usually they cannot play through a lot of interruption. So if you stop them early on, it's usually, if you don't know what the deck does, as is the case right now for me, I don't know what the Utopia deck really does. I don't know the cards. Your best bet is to just stop them as early on as possible. Alright, this doesn't seem too threatening as of now. I mean, they can use this effect, but we don't have any special summoned monsters. So, what is this? Is this a rank up magic? Or right, rank up. Target, special summon 1 rank or 10 or high Utopia exceed monster from your extra deck. Are they gonna go for Utopia Kaiser? Because that's a card that I know from the TCG that is very, very good. I think it just special summons a monster out of the extra deck or something like that. So, in that regard, I also have to say I really like Master Duel in terms of how many new decks it even brought to my attention. I would consider myself someone who, in the TCG, I've played almost every deck. Especially during the pandemic, I tried to test every deck that was out there so that I at least get an idea. I played Necros, I played Shadows, and all the decks that came out before I even started playing again. But it's just so funny to see how Master Duel shows me how there are so many more decks that I don't even know what they're doing. There are so many archetypes in the game. It's actually crazy. You can detach 2 materials from this card, special summon 1 from your extra deck. Okay. So we'll probably just imperm this one. Will probably be our best bet. And then we have to top deck into either Dragon Matrix, Dragon Hawk, Thunder Dragon, the regular Thunder Dragon, or yeah, I mean that's probably it, right? Those cards give us a very good play that we can go for, unless they destroy our back row, which is very unlikely. I feel like it's a very I don't think they play a lot of spell trap destruction in that sense. Or maybe a board wipe is somewhat popular in those rogue strategies. I feel like they just randomly have board wipes in their archetype. But other than that, I think we'll negate this, because they also get an effect here from the rank up magic when an Exceed monster gets summoned. So they would pretty much get, I mean, they could attach it to the Exceed material, to the Exceed monster as material. I don't know how relevant that is for the strategy that they're going for, but I mean, I'll be curious. Okay, so they go to battle phase. Are they locked into anything? This still has 2 materials, so if they go for, oh, you know what could come in handy is if they go for Zeus now, and they wipe our board, which they might do, because alright, they don't. Are they locked into anything? Maybe they cannot summon, but they can summon Exceed monsters, right? Interesting. Let's activate Dark in the end phase in case we draw something like Hawk, in case we draw something like a OG Thunder Dragon, so we can banish Dark and OG Thunder Dragon with Duo. They go for Ash. That is a very bad Ash bossum. If you play versus Thunder Dragon, you never really want to Ash the Thunder Dragon Dark. This is very nice for us, because if we draw a lure, for example, even that, then we can at least draw a card. But we draw Maxi. We just have to scoop. Okay, boys, we just lost to the Utopia. It happens, right? I mean, we lost to ourselves more than to Utopia. I feel like we break. Our hand is a Lure, Thunder Dragon Hawk, Thunder Dragon Dark, Maxi, Matrix. This is, of course, a fantastic hand, especially because we go first. If we go second, we would have had Maxi, which is formidable. We draw Goldsuck, Cold Pedigree. My god, that is an amazing hand. Banish the Thunder Dragon Dark. We use Dark, and then we can... What do we actually want to get? It's a good question here. Maybe Fusion? Gold Sarcophagus could get us Roar banished, would summon out... I feel like we want to go for Fusion. It's just my feeling. Maybe I'm wrong here. But we can go for Gold Sarcophagus. Banish Roar. Banish Roar. Then Roar will trigger. And with Roar we can summon out... Any Thunder Dragon, doesn't really matter. It's just going to be material for our Thunder Dragon Fusion. I'll actually go with the OG Thunder Dragon. Then we can normal summon our Matrix. We can go for Union Carrier. Then we even get a Matrix to our hand for the following turn to have interruption with Titan. We use the Matrix in the grave. Yes, we want to add more cards to our hand. So they have a response. Probably they... what could they have? Because they didn't have a response to Roar, right? Did we summon... No, we didn't summon 5 times yet. Dragon Hawk will summon back the Dragon Roar from the banished pile. Or Dragon Dark actually might be even better. Because the one we want to keep in the grave later on. After we use Fusion. Alright, go for Colossus. We can summon this in attack. It's not the most important thing in which position we summon it. Then we go for Fusion. We put back OG Thunder Dragon. Probably Roar from the banished pile. Yeah, Roar from the banished pile. OG Thunder Dragon as well as Hawk. Because we only play one Hawk in Master Duel format, of course. We put out the Titan. We use Union Carrier. If they don't have Nibiru, of course. And if we get Nibiru here, it's not too good. Alright. Not too many people are on Nibiru, I feel like, right now. We set the Cold by the Grave, so we would have at least have Cold by the Grave, Maxi, and Fusion follow-up on the next turn if they would Nibiru us here. But we can pass on that. They also play above 40 cards, and it's something that I can also only recommend if you play on the ladder and you really want to be, or you really want to play as competitively as possible. If you play against a deck that plays more than 40, there is a chance they play a combo deck, so maybe you can play a bit more aggressively. The chance of them seeing hand traps is also lower, and maybe they don't even play hand traps to begin with, but only go in second cards, since if their deck count is quite high. I mean, this doesn't always have to be the case, but most decks that try to see their good hand traps as often as possible, they play 40, of course. Please don't disconnect. Please don't disconnect. Yes. Alright, nice. So they break the Buster Lock. They put out our Cold by the Grave. They put away our Cold by the Grave with Feather Duster. A lot of people main deck in the Feather Duster still versus Eldritch. Probably not a bad choice. You can definitely do that. Even in the Thunder Dragon build, you could do it. I just feel like the combo decks are way more oppressive than the Eldritch decks. Alright, they go for Imperm on the Colossus. Well, this is you know, this is what we talked about I remember back in the video that we did. We talked about, well, they have to draw very specific outs to out the Colossus plus the Dragon Buster Lock. They would have to draw something like Lightning Storm plus Imperm. And they drew it, right? They play Mathmech. Alright, this is a deck that I know fairly well. I do play against this quite frequently on Dueling Book. Because there are a couple of players that play this deck on high-rated Dueling Book here and there in the TCG. This one, if this card is sent to the grave, you can target a Cybers monster you control in the extra monster zone. Can make up to 2 attacks. This one I don't really know that well. I don't think it's played in the TCG, maybe as a one-off only. But the one they added, it gets played. Which one is this? Yeah, this one. Sigma. Yeah, this one is the crazy one, I feel like. This just summons itself out. Oh no, this is not the crazy. There is one that just makes so when you exceed someone with the monster, the exceed monster just gets an Omni Negate for no reason. But this is not the one. We just throw Maxi, of course, because why not? And Mathmech is a deck that definitely crumbles. Is it crumbles or cripples when Maxi is dropped? Alright, we draw a card, we draw Crow. And this is, of course, one of the things that about Maxi, you know, in Master Duel, it's so crazy. You can always draw into your hand traps. That's so amazing when you play a lot of them. You can tribute 1 Cyber's monster, special summon 1. Oh, no. Oh, never mind. This one is actually played in the TCG. I remember. Yeah, this one summons 1 out of the deck. Exactly. I just didn't remember the second effect. So you can tribute 1 and special summon 1 from the deck. I feel like that's totally fine. Whatever they are going for, we actually want to put on the toggle, just so we can maybe on resolution activate the Titan if it's necessary. What is this? You can target 1 level for 8 level, it becomes 8. If it's sent to the grave, you can target 1 aside once in the extra monster zone. You know, potentially we want to just destroy this. I feel like this wouldn't be too bad. And they only have 1 card left in their hand to play with. So I think we can just risk it. Also, we still have DD Crow and we are, like, they're on the maxi, so yeah, I would probably just destroy the one that they just summoned, because it has an on-field effect where they can alter the level of monsters. And this should be... Okay, and you can see that even though they were able, they had Engine and Imperm Feather Duster, but we just had so much, like, we probably had the best possible hand that you can... Yeah, the best hand you can possibly have with the Thunder Dragon build like this. We have Maxi, Called by the Grave, which Called by the Grave didn't do anything, but just in theory, of course, such a good card to have. And they just have to pass, which is fine. We have a Lure in hand, we have Fusion in the grave, we even draw a Loof. That's actually pretty nuts. We can use the Fusion in the grave. And I believe if we just use Union Carrier once again, we just win on the spot probably. Do we have Dragon Dark even in the graveyard? So we don't even need a Loof, so we can just play this very, very safe by using the Hawk, using special summoning the... we turned the toggle off again, so we did not destroy their Lingeroo. It doesn't matter, of course. So we use the Union Carrier on the Colossus once again. It doesn't really matter. We just equip it to get it to 1,000 more attack. Maybe what would be nice, maybe getting a Dragon Dog we already have. Maybe it doesn't really matter. Let's get the nice looking DD Crow equipped to it. Put this to attack, and this should be game over, right? This is like 6,007. Yeah, this is definitely game over. So we just attack into their stuff. Hopefully they don't have anything that stops us from OTKing them. And yeah, I mean, just a regular good Thunder Dragon hand, right? Oh, it even perfectly, exactly 3,600 what they had. Alright, that was a nice show off. Alright, as always, I had a very great time talking about Thunder Dragons in Master Duel. Let me know what you think of the deck down below. What could we change? What could we improve about this deck list? And maybe if we should update this regularly, you know, maybe every few weeks we look at the format and see how we can improve this deck list. I don't want to merely focus on the Thunder Dragon deck on the channel, of course. We want to bring a lot of different decks to it and try out all different sorts of stuff. But really wanted to get this in today, and I really enjoyed it. So with that being said, I hope you guys loved the video, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Bye.